This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Ibrahim Nadim. How are you doing? Ibi, I believe.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. You've been picked out as one of our ones to keep an eye on for 2022. And yeah, I just want to kind of get from you how you feel your 2021 went, first of all. Happy to kind of be back in action on a bit more of a regular basis.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a bit of a frustrating start because I'd fight in February. Then I was out of the ring for like 8 months, didn't fight till October. And then obviously I had another one at the end, December. So after December, obviously I had one straight away, so it wasn't that bad, but it was the 8 months wait that was kind of long.
Of course. Now, let me take you back a bit. You train, of course, with legend of the sport, Ricky Hatton, someone I'm sure you watched a fair bit of growing up in Keighley. Just tell us how that relationship came about.
It's just like when my dad and my amateur coach asked me like, who are you thinking of like as one of like your coaches for when you turn professional? Because my amateur coach didn't do no professionals. So first coaches that came in my mind were either Jamie Moore or Ricky Hatton. But we went down to try out Ricky first. Had like a week or two there, and then I enjoyed it. So I stuck with Ricky.
And was he someone that you particularly looked up to when you were just getting into the sport, or was he one of many? You know, who were kind of your boxing influences?
I'd say Amir Khan, Manny Pacquiao, and Ricky Hatton. Also Mayweather.
Wow, only the very best then.
Yeah, and mainly entertaining fighters, to be fair.
How has the relationship with Ricky grown and evolved since you started working together?
Yeah, I feel as if I'm like settling to the pro game a lot more. Like I'm settling in, like I'm slowing myself down a bit, like with my feet, like I'm planting my shots and stuff a bit more. Whereas at the beginning I was coming out throwing too many shots. Whereas because it's pros and you have more than enough rounds, you've got the time to slow it down and just pick the pace up steadily.
It's been interesting with your development because you were the first kind of 3 shows that you were on were very big shows, matchroom shows. The last couple a little more low profile. What's kind of the deal there? Were you with matchroom at the time, or was it just a case by case basis?
No, it was just I just got like the option of going on the shows, so obviously I took him. And then that was for my first 3 fights, and then because of COVID, I've been inactive. I can't really wait around to just wait to get on big shows because I'm not really at that level where I'm really known yet. So I just need to get in as many fights as I can.
And would you expect in 2022, now you're back in action regularly, to go back on some of those bigger shows, matchroom shows on the zone perhaps?
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully I'll be out in February, like on whatever show I can get on, get a few more fights, hopefully fight for some sort of title. Like halfway through next year.
What weight do you think you'll be at when you eventually start challenging for championships? Because you've gone as low as quite near the super bantamweight limit, but also as high as super feather. Where do you think you'll settle?
Super bantamweight.
That's the one you're going for?
Yeah. I think I'll start with that, and if I end up struggling to make it, I'll go for featherweight.
Now, at this stage of your career, vast majority of fighters learn more in the gym and in sparring than they do in the fights themselves. Tell us some of the people you've been sparring with who you've particularly benefited from sparring.
I'd say everyone, because everyone's got different styles, and I'm always kind of sparring lads that are heavier than me. I've sparred Zelfa, obviously that was a good experience. I've sparred Sam Bowen, was also good. The 2 lads who trained down at Ricky's gym, they both good amateurs and they're good boxers. There's a few boxers I've sparred, so like all of them bring different like kind of style to the table, so it's all different.
I think most people would agree that Sam and Zelfa particularly at least top domestic level, if not beyond that. What did sparring with guys like that tell you about how far away you might be from that sort of level?
Yeah, I think I did pretty well. Like when I sparred Sam Bowen, I hadn't even had my pro debut, but he is strong and he's heavier than me, so it was a good spar though. I learned loads also with Zelfa.
What do you want to do in 2022? Like by the end of next year, what would you like to have achieved? What boxes would you like to have ticked?
Hopefully get 5 fights indefinitely, some sort of like area title or something like that, and more rounds, definitely more rounds.
And do you think as you start to fight more opponents with winning records, guys that really come to win, you might start getting a few more stoppages in your own right, more openings?
Yeah, definitely. I feel as if with like the journeymen and that, it's harder to, because they're just trying to survive, it's harder to catch them clean because they're not really committing to anything. So they're not going to walk onto much.
Tell us a little bit about your life outside of the ring and outside of the gym. Do you still live at home with your family? What sort of stuff do you get up to when you're not training?
Yeah, I live home with family. When I'm at home, sometimes I'll go to the gym, and when I come home, I'll do like my second session at home, like a run or bags or pads with my dad, maybe. Other than that, just pretty much chill and go with mates sometimes.
Is it hard being kind of a young boxer when your mates are out doing stuff a lot and you have to be a lot more disciplined than the average person?
I think I'm pretty used to it now, to be fair. Like, because I've been doing it for so long, it doesn't really faze me no more. I'm not really bothered about it.
You were a top class amateur. You won the ABAs or national elites, obviously we call them now. Did you consider staying around for longer, maybe, you know, trying to get through an Olympic cycle or anything? Because you turned pro at what, 19, 20?
Yeah, well, I got the call up from GB, but by the time I did have my pro debut, which was another 8 months, that's when everyone started getting picked. So it would have been me just kind of waiting around. And because they'd already had a team for Olympics, I would have had to wait for 2024. And even that is not certain that's even going to be on now. So I think it was a good move, to be fair, to go 10 pro.
And for people that haven't seen you fight, either amateur or pro, how would you describe your style?
I think I start off boxing at a range and then get involved a lot more. I'd say high work rate, entertaining kind of style.
How similar, I'm sure you've been asked this before, but how similar is your style to Ricky's?
Not very similar, but I'm improving my inside game.
You're taller and rangier than he was.
Yeah, different builds. So, he was a bit shorter in terms of people we're fighting. Whereas because I'm quite tall for the weight, I'm usually fighting shorter people. So for me, it's more about keeping it at a range, and I'm still working on the inside on the body bag with Ricky. That's somewhere we're improving on.
Good stuff. Now, before I let you go, just tell everyone out there how they can find you on the different social media platforms so they can find out a bit more about the journey.
On Instagram, it's Ibrahim.Nadim. Twitter is just Ibrahim Nadim, and Facebook's the same.
Brilliant. I really appreciate your time. Yeah, one of our ones to keep an eye on for 2022. So best of luck for next year, and we'll be watching with interest.
Nice one.
Cheers, mate. Take care.